So we're going to go over some of the tactics, strategies, some of the best practices, and then give you some awesome strategy as well to talk to product and to get those conversations started so you guys can all have an optimal partner directory setup. We'll show you why the partner directory can and should be a part of your overall site traffic goals and growth goals, not just partnerships, but your users, your clients, your customers that see those partnerships on the directory, how to convert them, and obviously how to get more impressions on search. Gerton, our host here, is going to give us a gap analysis presentation of the best practices for leveraging your partner directory to attract the search traffic and capture these leads, and hopefully get you guys in a position to do exactly that. But I'll turn it over to you, Gerton, to do the intro from here, and then we'll get right into it.
Yeah, thanks for the awesome intro, by the way, and the kind words. So at API, we enable software companies like all of you to build, market, and scale your integrations and partnership ecosystem. We have currently one product live called API Ecosystem, which is used by 40 companies, which use it to build their own integrations marketplace and partnership directories where they can use and quickly create partner pages for everyone, and to have like the SEO benefits, to have like a much broader search presence. So that's the main premise we're trying to do with our ecosystem product. And we have a second product that's still in the works called API Unify, which enables also developers to build new integrations. So that's the building side where we standardize different software categories where you only need to integrate once per CRM API, email marketing, to simplify the engineering side and the developer side, and to be able to quickly open up all your customers to new integrations at scale.
What's next? So on the overall discussion, we're going to talk about everything in the chat there at the top. But let's first start with the background. So we're going to talk real quickly about SEO for directories. So first question for DJ there. Why should everyone start thinking about getting the integration and agency partner listings to rank?
From our experience, it was mostly that we saw the team seeing it as a basic requirement to have it because customers expect it and are looking for it. But it has certainly a couple of benefits, like generating new leads, attracting new partners by able to list them as upcoming, or to even generate dynamic pages for every potential partner out there to already capture that intent from the search engine side. So that's a big one. And also drive customer traffic. That's the primary one, to be able to enable those customers to enable new integrations, to discover new integrations, and to be able to have more integrations enabled per customer, because that directly results in a higher LTV for all of your customers. So it has a direct impact also on your revenue. You have a few standard use cases of directories, like an integrations marketplace where you list all the integrations and technology partners, a partner directory where you can list multiple types of partners, the agency directory where you only list agencies and their services they offer. Then you have an app store if you want to, if you're able to monetize already third-party apps and integrations, then most companies call it an app store. And you have the marketing directory use case where you create a compilation of tools that are serving a certain use case and use that to drive more traffic and drive more leads. The common components you see among all the directories are categories, like saying these are all the analytics partners we have or CRM providers we support, and also having a dedicated page for each category helps to drive more SEO traffic. Having collections where you can group featured partners, new partners, or other use cases where you can easily group and support new partnership use cases as a separate concept next to the categories itself. Having metadata per page and per category helps also to have like a better SEO footprint and be able to be indexed by Google, because Google really likes that you have the right data on that page, and that the page that you're trying to serve, that it has like high quality content. That's something that's very common for Google, where they use it to rank pages higher if the context is applicable to what the customer or the visitor is searching for on that page itself. Then you have the CTAs that you can use to activate the actual integrations or to reach out to the partners, but also to being able to request new integrations. So if the customer visiting the directory doesn't see an integration directly, they can search for an integration, and then if they don't find it, then can easily request it. And then this gives you a lot more data to drive your partnership strategy. If you see a lot of people requesting certain integrations you don't support yet, gives you a lot more ammunition to reach out to all those partners and to see, hey, maybe there's a potential use case here, because we see a lot of inbound traffic coming in on our ecosystem, so that can help you drive your partnership strategy. What I want to do now is to do quick breakdown of a few ecosystems like ActiveCampaign and ChargeB. We're probably in the call to go over the common components and the best and common practices you can use to set up your own ecosystem. The first thing you see, it's a beautiful design page. Of course, they put a lot of effort in it. You see the search functionality is super important, that they can search immediately for what they're looking for. If they come directly on the page itself, it's different if they, of course, search through Google. If they search for Shopify and ActiveCampaign, they will directly end up on the landing page, where it's super important to install the integration or to reach out if there's more information they need to activate the integration. You see here that they try to feature a couple of partners like Salesforce, Typeform, and Shopify. They have the collections of the most popular integrations and partners they have, the recently added, and all of the applications that are listed within the ecosystem. You will also notice that they have a dedicated page per category, which helps drive more traffic from search engines. If people search for ActiveCampaign and CMS, they will directly end up on this page, which is of huge value and something not all companies do, but it's actually something you could easily do on your own, and it doesn't require a lot of time. But it can help you rank for a lot more keywords if you have a dedicated page per category. You also see here that they directly have a CTA to the API to build new applications, to attract new developers, to test out new use cases and to integrate with them, to attract them. And they have the functionality to reach out, to update or create a new listing, which is connected to a separate form, which will enable them to capture that content and to go back and forth with the partner itself to discuss how they can make the integration happen, if it's not already done. But it definitely simplifies a lot of stuff that they're listing that on the ecosystem itself. If you would click on a certain integration, you can see again a beautiful page where they have a couple of CDAs to get started, where they list some content, where they directly link to the partner page, to the partner itself, and also to the customer support docs and the knowledge base, where they can search for more information how to install and activate the actual integration. So this is a very well thought out directory, which will help them drive a lot of traffic, which is beneficial for everyone. Also for the partners to have like a lot of visibility on the ecosystem itself. It always works. It's something we've learned from our partners, so definitely is a good example. If you would look at Unbounce, it's also a very well designed, light design, where you have different integration types, where they're trying to leverage also integration platforms like Zapier and other ones. So that's really important that the customer, if they visit the ecosystem itself, that they immediately notice if it's a native integration, if it's supported through Zapier, if they need to activate it through a third party, that they immediately see, okay, this is served through Zapier or is built natively or in-app. So they have a lot of distinctions which can help the customer find and activate the integration itself as soon as possible, which is super important. If you would go to the Zapier page for active demand, they also show, okay, it's powered through Zapier. If it's native, it will be different. So sometimes they link to an external link. If they don't have the landing page, that could be something you can do in the short term. If you don't have the time to create the landing page itself, that you can directly link to the partner, which can help you generate also a lot more content, because being able to show a big ecosystem will certainly drive more conversion, and being able to position yourself as a company to partner with. That's something all we want to have, of course. Something that's missing from this is dedicated category pages. So if you would search from Google to Unbound CRM, you see the common integrations landing page, which will have a lower CTA if you're looking for CRM, because you don't see the meta text for the category page itself, which will have a lower CTR for the search. If you search for a category, then it will definitely result in a lower CTR. So that's definitely also a benefit to invest in those category pages. If you would look at ChargeB, it's also a nice one, very simple, straightforward, and they also don't have the dedicated category pages. They have a nice description of what the use cases of the integration partner itself. Again, a CTA to trigger the partner to integrate with them so they can fill out a form to handle all the communication there. If you go to the landing page directly, you see all the relevant links like pricing data, documentation, all the stuff you need to actually assess an integration, a privacy policy, more and more important. Support docs, status page is mostly commonly linked, and some screenshots, some media. A video can certainly help, also can generate a lot of video content. If you create like a video per partner, can help drive a lot more search traffic and video traffic that way. So again, a good example, Google search. Some of the things we actually discussed with our partners and implemented is a new strategy that can enable you to generate a lot more landing pages by having a landing page for every possible integration out there in the market. So if you want to build an integration with a new partner, but you don't support it yet, you just create it. And then you will be able to say, based on that data, okay, we get 10 or 15 visits a week, and it gives you a lot more data, like I already discussed earlier, to drive your strategy there.
Yeah, and I just want to mention a couple things. So, the big takeaways there are the bigger ecosystem, the better, right? So you do not have to have 500 integrations out there. You don't have to have that. What you have to have is the footprint to create that demand, to say, hey, who out there is interested in ChargeB plus this Stitch integration? You may not support it now, but have the landing page so you can capture the traffic, you can monitor the impressions on that page, and then you can take that to your product team and say, hey, we're actually getting a lot of interest in this integration. Let's go ahead and build it, right? So you can programmatically do it, of course. There's options for that. But the very, very main thing there, the biggest takeaway is just have the bigger ecosystem. And then one thing that you showed, I think if you back up there, GJ, there's a hash in the domain when you were cycling through the directory of ChargeB. Mention what's up with the hash there.
Yeah, best way is to have a dedicated page for this. It also works to do it like this, but Google prefers to have like a dedicated page if you want to rank for that category, it certainly helps. To give you an example of one of our partners does it, like if they integrate it with an integration platform like Integromat or Zapier, they will show it here in the cards itself. Then they can click through where we show the Zap templates by default, so it automatically embeds those and enables you to showcase a lot more integrations. If you can say, okay, we integrated with these amount of connectors through Zapier, PySync, Integromat, Automate.io. So try to leverage integration platforms to showcase a much bigger ecosystem. That also helps you attract new partners. So that's something that can be beneficial for everyone. For the automated pages, what we do is we have a dedicated page per partner. So we create up to, I think nowadays, 11,000 different pages of software products. So if people search for ClickSend and high price, they would end up on this page, depending on how fast Google indexes these pages. And then they can directly request the integration itself, which again gives the partnership team a lot more data to drive their partnership strategy. And that's something we try to keep on expanding on a daily basis, because we all seen the MarTech map where we now have around 9,000 different products. It will keep exploding in the coming years. It will never stop. So you have a huge integration opportunity and partnership opportunity in the market. And solutions like this will give you a lot more tools and data to drive that strategy and to simplify and keep and manage everything around it and your ecosystem, because it's a moving target and it will become more and more important to bank on the data and to have like an SEO strategy which can capture on that. So that's something we try to work on with our partners from our side.
Yeah, and let's talk about this. So flexibility and ownership is a big thing for us. We hear a lot, well, I don't have access to our directory. I don't own our directory. I can't edit. So there are stopgaps, there are options. There's middle ground, of course. But, let's just say hypothetically you're in a position where you have the ability to create a CMS powered directory that your team can edit. There's plenty of options there, like API Deck, WordPress, there's the.com, one of our partners here. So you can create your own directory, but then below that you have optimizations for the directory that will save you time and also create this SEO powered directory that we're talking about. And one of the things there is the ability to have your partners edit their own listings to an extent. If you have been buried with edits to the directory, I know we get that. That's a big thing for us, is just the upkeep of the directory. If someone's integration changes and the verbiage needs to be changed, you as the partner team getting inundated with those. If there was a CMS and access to that directory, how much time would that save you? So that's something I want to talk about now. And then we'll also talk about the pros and cons of uploading your directory to a subdomain versus subdirectory. So let's talk about first, GJ, the feedback that you've had on the demand for allowing partners to edit their own profile and some of the things that you can talk about around the CMS, the back end.
You have two parts there. If you have a big ecosystem and more than 20 partners, you want an easy way for them to start managing their own content. A lot of these companies are like you are changing their branding once a year maybe. So, and have new screenshots of the application, wants to change the description. They're very agile companies like all of us. So you want to give them a way to start editing their own content and not to go back and forth over email, because that's not efficient for anyone, and it's not really work that is of value for a lot of people. So that's something we try to enable our partners to do the communication through the partner portal, where they can start managing their own listing across multiple ecosystems, where we have a way to say, okay, I want to update my listing across different ecosystems. That where we want to go. We already do it for a couple of partners where they can just send out a partner login, where they can give the flexibility to the partner. One of the upcoming things we're working on is to give a lot more data to the partners, to say, okay, you have data about visits on your page, to edit certain content, to also add some gamification to enable them to say, okay, please give a decent description with a decent length, try to add a video about your solution, add different screenshots, to have a much completer profile than you would have if you would do that internally, because there's a lot of friction there, and do the communication over email, which takes up a lot of your time, which could be spent on building new partnerships instead of trying to do just email input from your system to the CMS. So that's where we see a lot of optimization possibilities in the future, to be honest.
Yeah, and welcome Eric with ChargeB. We just got done reviewing ChargeB's directory, so we'll have to share that video with you, Eric. But let's talk about, some of the, we don't have to go into detail on the CMSs that you can buy, the webflows, wordpress.com, API deck, but I want to talk about some of the reasons why you would go with a third party. So let's talk about that. Let's go through the list of pros and cons, and start with the pros. I mean, why should I go with a third party to run my directory?
Maybe first for the custom development, no? Like if you do custom development in-house, you always have the flexibility, but you have the maintenance you need to do. You have the ongoing costs you always have. You need to go back and forth with the engineering product teams, which also takes up a lot of time and energy. And it's owned by the product and development teams. You also have the cost, of course, that you need to budget for allocating all those resources internally. So you always are trying to get their time between different teams. So that also takes up a lot of your budget. And you don't have the features like fully hosted solutions like AppDirect, Open Channel, or API that you have, who really invest in, like enable you to create a new landing page in up to 5 seconds, doing the data sourcing, investing a lot on the partner discovery, and enabling your partners to have like a login where they can start managing their own content. Those are the things where you can see really the benefit of not choosing for an in-house built solution, but to go for a fully hosted solution, which already has a lot of options. But you still see everyone trying to solve it with WordPress and Webflow and other CMS because you're used to it. You have it on the marketing website, it makes sense. You can easily add new content, but a partner ecosystem is something that's constantly moving. You have a lot of different requirements, which is difficult to try to fit within a certain framework. Most of the time, like WordPress, they're not very suited for those use cases. If you integrate with some integration platforms, you want to leverage those platforms to generate different landing pages. And those are the things they're not suited for. They're more generic solutions, which always will work to a certain degree. But as soon as you want to start scaling your ecosystem or really want to benefit from that, then you can really start to look into fully hosted solutions, give a partner portal to your partners, trying to enhance the partner experience. That's really valuable for everyone.
Yeah, and I'd like to talk about splitting it in half here. So there's two ways to think about this. There's the integration directory, the agency directory that is there for converting site traffic. There is a process and a mentality to use the new directory, the wish you had these listings or wish you had these integrations directory to capture net new site traffic and net new partner leads. So instead of thinking about it like converting your entire back end and converting your entire partner program directory to something like this, think about it like, we want to own the SEO and the lead generation aspects of a directory. We want to make sure that is moving forward. And in order to do that, we have to have flexibility. We have to have ownership of at least the demand gen aspect of a partner directory. So it's just like any SEO strategy, any content strategy, your directory needs to be there to progress you guys into new fields. So that's where we kind of think about this. And I just pulled up my back end here for our partner programs directory, just so you can see some of the really interesting aspects that you can do with this. The directories can allow you to search and find really awesome, new types of listings. Like when you go into a ActiveCampaign, for example, these are some of the requests, by the way. So you have this whole management of it. It's creating those forward-facing profiles that have the keywords, your brand plus their brand as an integration, and capturing those searched keywords. There's not a lot of them. They're all pretty long tail, but they're there. So it's owning that demand generation aspect of your partner. Okay, so let's go into Q&A. I think we have 10 minutes here. So let's talk about this. So I want to hear from everybody, the metrics around the directory. I know you are all in different places. You kind of all have different statuses of what your directory is. I think ActiveCampaign is down here. You guys have an amazing directory. It's probably generating a ton of inbound for you guys and is fully baked, right? But then we have our new products and brands that are thinking about what type of directory to build, what CMS, and then everybody in the middle. They've got a directory like ChargeB. I think you guys are right here where you've got a directory, you've got product dealing with a whole bunch of other things, and maybe they can't give you the support you need on the directory side. But what are some of the metrics that you guys are looking at using the directory to improve? Are there any sort of either search, net new, partner request, any types of metrics?
That's something that the marketing team is taking care. So I think it does not fall under the purview. Of course, we do give suggestions as to how the page should look, and of course, we do get suggestions from the product team as well. But so of course, like it's this has been helpful because it helps us understand, because the marketing team looks at the entire product per se, right? So how things need to be improved in order for getting more partners.
Yeah. Okay. So the answer there is the marketing team deals with the KPIs from the partner directory. And then some of our founders, Ian, you have a different perspective on all this than I think most people, because you guys have a really awesome agency. You've got Hyperize, which is an awesome platform that integrates a lot with the providers like ActiveCampaign. I think you may have an integration with those guys. I think you have an integration with Unbounce even, but you have this awesome platform, and you're also an agency and you're also a founder. So what does the partner directory, where does it sit in your stack and on your order of operations? Any pain points?
Yeah, for Hyperize, something like that is key. I mean, like with any content marketing SEO play, you need as much content as possible, and obviously it's expensive to have specific long form content produced, but where you can kind of capture this in more like long tail SEO traffic, especially like when we were talking about before with the categories as well. So not just kind of the name, but also being able to mop up category level searches as well. So I think it's key. Obviously, it's kind of one of those things when you're starting a business. So many spinning plates, when you're trying to find product market fit and build your product, sometimes SEO gets pushed a bit to the back. I know with Ash and I's other company, App Institute, when we started that, we kind of pushed it back way too long. It's probably like year 4 or 5 before we started, and our paid acquisition was crazy high because we put it off so long, and it took 18 months to kick in. So tools like this, are pretty cool that, enable you to get started on it quickly earlier in the journey. So, SEO is a bit of a long-term game, right? So earlier you can get started with that, the easier, I think.
Yeah, and I want to do this real quick because Trustpilot is on, and we were just talking about their directory. So let me just see if I can get their directory pulled up here. Got a couple of routes there. We've got apps. This is their app directory, and then agencies. So this is the other thing that we've done that worked really well for us. There are routes here. You see all the / but there aren't any full keywords in the route. So agency partner directory, right? If you had agency -partner -directory or agency partners, even there is an improvement. But let's talk about this. So GJ, anything that you see here where you think there could be some optimization? So they have a contact button, contact our partner team, sorry. And that goes to this form, I believe. And then there is one more CTA up here, which goes off to, I believe their homepage. So first thing I see is this is your CTA button that works for Trustpilot. They need to do two things at once. They need to scratch their partners back by sending traffic to their partner, but they also need to convert people interested in this integration to a Trustpilot account. So people looking for Trustpilot plus To Be Fresh, or they're looking for To Be Fresh integrations, now they're exploring this integration. You want to sort of put that CTA front and center to make sure you're converting this traffic to a potential Trustpilot account. So just some quick optimizations there. But what do you think, GJ?
Yeah, you'll definitely work the strategy they now have, and they have really extended landing pages, which is helpful if the marketing team has a lot of resources. But most of the time, if you want to quickly enable customers to activate new integrations, you want to make it more simple, that they see an install button where they see the different use cases of the integration itself, where they see some screenshots. So you have different layouts that you can use. Definitely the subdomain setup is really important. They have it as a subdirectory, the partners, where they also use apps as a taxonomy. So that's something you can play with. Some companies use extensions, plugins, integrations, but most of people are searching for integrations. And that's the main keyword, or partnership or partner. That's also common, or app. But besides that, you still have other naming you can use in the URL, which could definitely be beneficial. But it's interesting that they have also the apps and agencies on the same overview, which is always good, because they're not sure who's ending up on this page. Then they can easily switch between both of those two options. You can also go for unified directory, where you use it as a filter, where you show them all in one overview, and where you make the distinction in the categories, where you say, okay, these are the agencies we're listing in our directory, or you can have a separate overview like this, where you split it up in agencies and integrations or apps. So, but it's again a good example. Certainly room for improvement always, I think. I don't think they're using dynamic pages to see which potential partnerships they could be exploring. So that's something they could improve upon, but not a lot of companies are doing that right now. So it's pretty new, but if I would recommend something, that's something that you can invest early on in, to say, okay, these are the potential partnerships we're going to already create a small page for, even if you don't have the partnership yet in place, but it will certainly drive the discussion with the partner itself to generate already interest and make sure that you have some shared customers where you can work together on.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at the category filters are super important. So if you think about it like a pyramid, you know, you want your top level categories to be you plus integration. Underneath that, you want subcategories that are actually in the domain structure. And this isn't an incredibly challenging thing to do, especially if you're living on a subdomain. It'd be easy for Trustpilot to take their new integration development over to another subdomain. I doubt there's a lot of search, organic search landing right on this directory just by the way it's shaped. They can take it onto a new subdomain. They can reconstruct the actual filters for each one of these agencies, B2B, e-commerce, et cetera, instead of by country, but you can also have by country. And then as those categories are selected, you create those as pages, which means the URL shifts from partner agency /Australia /e-commerce. Then you have your subcategories that are ranking as pages themselves. You put a bunch of great metadata on that page, and you also put some actual content on this page. So a little bit of long form content like a paragraph up top. And then the best example of these actual agency pages is Databox. If you haven't checked out Databox's partner directory, their agency directory, they do something that very few do, where they'll actually list all of the skills and the expertise and other platforms that their agencies have. And then they'll list the number of times that that agency has had a Databox template download, which doesn't apply to everybody, but they really go that extra mile to show how, and I'll try to pull it up here, show how great that agency is. Which if you're an agency and you're considering Databox versus another partner, you would look at this like, I want to be this agency. You know, experts in templates, you have my links up top, you have my social link plus my do follow. You see here, it's an actual do follow link. How many times the template's been downloaded, a little bit about what I'm an expert in, and then my dashboards down here. I think this is just one of the best examples of scratching that agency's back and showing them what being a partner of Databox really means. And they're getting a ton of leads from this page, I'm sure. I'll leave it one last time. Anything else, GJ, before we end?
No, I think we covered a lot of stuff, and I think there are a lot of SEO tools out there which you can use to streamline your strategy. I think there's a big shift happening also in budgets at the moment to help you drive your customer acquisition strategy, to attract more partners, because offline events are currently not happening. So you need to have like a lot more deal flow and trying to address new pipelines to drive that growth. And I think using your SEO to boost that can certainly be one of the avenues you could explore to make that happen. So I think there's a big opportunity at the moment to make the shift, and the partner directory could be a very strategic asset to make that happen. Also, if you need to sell it to your executive team and CEO, I think there's a lot of people are aware of the changes happening at the moment, and I think the partner directories are going to become more and more vital, also giving the growth of software as a category and the fragmentation happening in the market. I think it will become bigger and bigger, and I think it's a big opportunity for all partnership teams out there.
Yeah, and I just checked ours. Ours is currently at 11,000 pages indexed. I mean, we have 40 partners, but we have 11,000 partner pages indexed for our directory dot. So super valuable. That's going to be a huge part of our SEO goals for this year. So definitely let me know, or GJ know, if you have any follow-up questions in the emails. I think you guys all have our emails. I'll get a little bit of an article plus the video out to you guys, and you can always follow up with questions there. Thank you for joining, and I hope this was valuable.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for listening.
Thanks.
Take care. Stay safe.